Books on the Brain.
Welcome back to Books on the Podcast. Books. Confident.
That's not the name of our podcast.
Welcome back to Books on the Brain, a podcast of books and nonsense. I'm Deirdre.
And I'm Danielle.
It took us 3 seasons to royally screw that one up.
I liked it. I think it's got a nice ring to it. Books on the podcast. Books on the podcast. That's our after hours show. Books on the podcast, baby.
We should.
How are you?
Show.
How's everything?
Sorry, I'm just drinking my water. I'm good. I feel like I have finally reached the over the hump of being sick.
Okay.
I was sick for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And up until yesterday, I was still feeling a lot in my throat, and I still have a little bit of congestion, and my throat isn't fully clear, but my energy is up. I did my laundry today, and I feel like I can, see the end of this where I'm I'm back to 100%.
Heck yeah.
What about you? How are you?
I'm doing great. I had my orientation for my PS2, so my professional semester 2 for my teaching degree.
Nice.
I got placed in another elementary school. They said, can't get rid of her. Put her in elementary again. Which is low-key kind of unheard of, because usually you get placed elementary, middle school, and then high school for your 3 professional semesters.
Oh.
But I'm placed in 2 elementary placements, which is fine, because you know what? I'm learning lots. And teaching K to 5, huge spread. What a joy. But I'm teaching elementary drama and music and maybe some art, but probably mostly just drama, which is such a treat. I'm so excited. I was telling teacher before we started, I listened to some xylophones and some glockenspiels and some metallophones.
Glockenspiels.
The little babies. All day today. And my TA, my teaching advisor, halfway through the day puts in these stage grade earplugs that the district paid for her, so she doesn't have hearing loss. And she was like, you probably want to go get yourself some earplugs. And I was like, okay, I will go get some orange earplugs from Shoppers and enjoy them. But I'm very excited. At the very end of the day, a kiddo that I taught in my musical theater classes saw me from the hallway, and she was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, what are you doing here? And I didn't remember her name, so then I had to look at my TA and be like, what's the kid's name? Because I taught her a year ago. So
right.
I don't even remember my own name.
I know, right?
She remembered me, and I said, love you. Anyway, I'm doing great.
I thought you were gonna say you had a birthday.
I did.
You did.
I did. Ancient.
That's exciting.
It was a very good birthday. I went to go see Megan with my bestie Jackie.
Ooh.
In the cheap theater. It was honestly one of the best movies I've seen in probably the past year. Okay. We cried laughing. It was so good. At one point, Megan starts, actually at multiple points within the movie, Megan just starts singing.
Oh.
just sings. So there's a clip that kind of went viral on TikTok where Megan sings Titanium to the little girl as she's falling asleep as a lullaby. It's just very funny. It's so camp. Sure. And I feel like they were trying to be so serious, and then it just was it's beautiful. It is a beautiful piece of art that I feel very strongly about. So if you've not seen Megan, treat yourself. Go see Megan at your cheap theater.
Megan. Okay, I haven't. The movie we've been talking about at work is Cocaine Bear.
Oh,
everybody's thinking about it and thinking about going to see it.
Okay, fair. I think I'll wait until it comes out free somewhere.
Because
I want to go see Missing.
What's that?
I know, I think that one's, it's the one that's it's the sequel to Searching, where it's done all through apps on your phone and laptop. It's Zoom calls and FaceTimes and vlogs and stuff. It's about this girl whose mom goes missing. It's the first one, Searching, was really, really good. So I want to go see that one. Guess what I got for my birthday?
What?
I didn't get any books this year, but guess what I got?
You already have a Kindle.
I found it recently, which was nice. I lost it for like months.
Is it book related?
No.
Oh.
So this is gonna be hard. I don't know why I would kick you. Guess everything you think I would want.
Did you get a ring light?
No, I already have one.
Oh.
That sounded really pretentious. No, I already have it. Sounded pretentious.
A Switch?
I already have a Switch.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I'm so pretentious. I did get a Switch game though.
Nice.
Which I was very excited about. It's called Overcooked All You Can Eat. It was a lot of fun. But I'll tell you what I got. I got a Soda Stream.
Oh, that's fancy.
Because I hate carbonated water, but I love pop. So now I can make my own pop without having to deal with the bottles, which is something that plagues me.
Yeah.
Is bottles, because I don't like going to the recycling depot because I feel nervous to bring in more bags than I feel like is socially acceptable for one person to bring in. So then I don't bring them and then they just pile in my spare room.
I feel ya.
So I'm very excited to not have bottles in my life anymore. And I got this necklace.
Ooh, cute. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see.
Yeah, go watch on YouTube so you can see I feel like a little like mobster today because I'm wearing my
I know, I really love the layering you've got going on. This
is my baptism necklaces that I got when I was a baby. So this is the Virgin Mary and Jesus. This is
and a cross.
And then another little cross. And then an anchor and a heart.
Wow.
So, but I did wear it tucked in because I was like, I'm not religious, but this is the only gold I own.
Right.
So I was like, I wore it like this all day so no one can see the huge
I get it. I can feel a cough coming on. Hold on.
Anyway, everybody go follow us on YouTube. Sorry, I was plugging while you were sipping.
It's going to be an interesting episode, let me tell you.
Let me tell you. Well, great segue.
Thank you.
Today's episode is debate night. So this was something I pitched to Deirdre because I thought it would be funny, which it feels like a likely story. I think this would be funny.
That really feels like most of what we put out is one of us being like, you know what I think would be really funny is if we did this.
Yeah. I had a dream about this last night. I think we should probably do it.
We should do it on the podcast.
But you know what? It's worked for us so far. So
yeah.
Slay. So basically I've gone through and written a whole bunch of prompts. And Deirdre's gonna pick a number through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 through 9. And then we're gonna debate whatever the question is. And then we'll move on once it's had a significant lifespan.
Great.
So Deirdre's picking them because I made the question, so I don't want to I didn't prepare any answers, but I don't want to know what's coming up.
Yeah. Oh, I should have made like a spinner or something.
I mean, you could do like a number generator 1 through 9.
I could, or I could just guess.
You could just also ask Siri.
On my brain.
Or you could just guess.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
I pick number 6.
Okay. Who is the biggest bad guy who was written to not be a bad guy? Who is the biggest bad guy who was written not to be a bad guy? Like who we have society culturally decided is a bad guy. I have my answer.
That is a great question. Maybe you should go first so I can think about it. Because I'm like, I don't know.
Great. Gale Hawthorne from The Hunger Games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I think you could probably debate for the fact that he was meant to be a little bit of a I don't know if he was meant to be like a villain, but he's definitely not meant to be like wash his hands of everything. But Gale has become this beautiful scapegoat for everything bad in the world. If someone's a bad guy, he's a Gale Hawthorne. which I love. I think it's so funny. I also think it's funny that he's played by the Hemsworth who was not nice to Miley Cyrus, because I'm like, it's all full circle, baby. But Gale is awful. Gale in the first book is like, love you, Katniss. And Katniss is like, I have to go die for my family. He's like, okay. And then the second book, he's like, oh man, hey, wait a minute. You survived by pretending to be in love with someone? That hurts my feelings. And then the third book, he's like, I'm the police now. Anyway, my competitor is Gale Hawthorne.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I still am having a hard time coming up with an answer, which feels really embarrassing. I'm like, oh God. Is this how this whole game is gonna go? It's gonna be me being like, I don't remember any characters.
I will also accept the inverse. Who is a bad guy, who was written to be a bad guy, but people make him into a good guy.
The Darkling.
Like, in a bad way. What'd you say?
The Darkling.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say that, or I was gonna say Ryle from It Ends With Us.
Correct.
Anyway, debate why the Darkling.
I feel like so, like, obviously the Darkling is the bad guy at the end of everything. I feel like that's not a spoiler alert.
I feel like it's the Darkling. It's spoiler alert.
I feel like it's not a spoiler at this point. Like, the show's been out, the books have been out. Like,
he's played by Ben Barnes. What else do we want?
Yeah. And especially in like the online space, like, people love to put the title morally gray on everybody when some people are not morally gray, they are evil.
Yeah, it's just like people use morally gray as a way to make themselves feel okay for liking the villain.
Exactly. And it's like, it's okay for him to be a villain.
Yeah.
Like, most stories need a villain. And I prefer when the villain is somebody who's not redeemable.
I agree, because or if nobody's redeemable, right? Like, I feel like it's got to be one or the other. Sorry. Okay, so the Darkling versus Gale. Who would win in a fight?
The Darkling. I feel like the Darkling.
Gale has bombed. Deirdre, Gale has bombed.
I know, but I feel like the Darkling would see straight through Gale, and
Gale's got nothing going on up there, though. What is he seeing?
Know, that's true.
Two fireflies like banging into each other.
I just don't see how Gale is beating the Darkling, to be honest, especially because he's got nothing going on up there besides maybe a little hint of strategy, but barely.
I think he's a gaslighter.
Like, the Darkling is a military guy. He understands how to win a fight.
Gale's in the military. He wears camo in that third movie. In the fourth one. Sure. I think they wear camo.
I think the two of them would end up teaming up more than they would actually fight each other.
Yeah.
Lovers. Okay, I'm still trying to think about who people have made into bad guys. I'm like, is there a woman? There has to be.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm trying to think, like,
I'm like peeking out at my bookshelf.
I know, I'm like looking at all my books. I'm like,
me at all.
Maybe like, I was gonna say maybe like Jude in The Cruel Prince, because she's not meant to be the bad guy, but people are like, she's a badass, she's a whatever.
But I feel like that's not what you were asking. But I really don't think
so. What'd you say?
I said I feel like that's not what you were asking, though.
No, it's not. It's just on my bookshelf.
It's like a different situation.
Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, I'm happy with your answer of Gale, because I agree with you.
I was gonna think maybe it's, what's her name from King of Scars? not.
Oh, Zoya?
Nina the other. Yeah. Maybe Zoya, like Shadow and Bone.
Yeah, Shadow and Bone, Zoya.
Maybe.
Because she's not a villain, and she's not villainous. She's just misunderstood.
People are just like, she's a little meanie sometimes, but who isn't?
Yeah. Although I guess she is.
Next number.
What's her name's villain? Alina? Is that her name?
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah. She's like,
I think Alina's her own villain.
She is.
Girl needs to get a spine.
I agree.
Good
debate.
1 through 9.
Solid.
Not 6.
Not 6. Okay. 3.
Okay. Well, funny. There's two Hunger Game questions on this quiz, and this is one of them.
Sick.
What character would be the first to die in the Hunger Games?
In general, or in the Hunger Games?
In general. I don't want anyone actually in the Hunger Games.
Oh, okay. I can't. I had a character come to mind, but I do not want to say it because I don't want to talk
America's
about
Singer,
books.
the selection. Is it Feyre?
No, although I think there would be people that would argue Feyre would actually make it past the beginning. I don't think
Feyre
she would
win.
Try
to paint a picture, and it would be very bad.
Feyre is Katniss, so
don't say that.
They're both archers. So
okay, but does Feyre pick up the boat anytime after what? This first book? The first chapter of the first book?
In the trials.
But it's a bone. It doesn't have a bow. She throws it like a javelin. Don't. If you got to 2023 and you haven't read ACOTAR, quit while you're ahead.
On the SJM train, I think Dorian would die.
Oh yeah.
Round 1.
Totally.
Out of there.
Totally.
That's you know who I don't think would make it very far is Henry.
No.
Betty LaRue.
Henry would be sitting having a whole existential crisis.
He'd be like,
no, I still think America's Singer would die first.
I agree.
From the selection.
Actually, I do this all the time. I'd say I agree with you when I haven't read the book.
You're like, from what you've told me of it, I agree.
I'll take it. I agree.
Bella Swan from Twilight. I'd argue any of the Cullens also would probably die first.
Because they'd be too cocky.
100%.
They'd be like,
100%.
I got this. I'm a vampire.
They go, wait, I only know how to play baseball. This isn't baseball. And then they eliminate it.
Right out of there.
Honestly, I'd say any of the YA protagonists from 2012 would be the first ones gone. Like Triss, I don't think she's lasted very long in the Hunger Games. Because realistically, she doesn't have a lot of skill. Like, she just doesn't have a lot of skills.
Yeah.
She trains eventually and gets skills, but
right. Like, are we talking about people who are in the same position Katniss is when Katniss gets to the cornucopia? Like, if we think about their character arcs, like, are we thinking like Triss at the same point in the book that Katniss is?
Yeah.
Or are we
like
thinking
Bella Swan pre-vampire? Yeah.
Right. Like, are we thinking first half of their own books, or are we thinking whole completed character?
I think first half of their books.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Mare Barrow.
Yeah.
I don't think she would make it. Like, based where she is at that point in her story, I don't think she would make it.
Fair.
I think there are people that are going to disagree with me, but I'm looking at my bookshelf and I'm like, wow, I have read a lot of books with some strong characters who absolutely would make it.
Hell
past the first round of the Hunger Games.
My last submission is Locke from the Cruel Prince series, from the Book of the Air series. I know you don't know who that is. He would not make it.
Sorry.
He would not make it. Okay. 1 through 9, not 3 and 6.
9.
What side chick? Take 2. What sidekick should run for prime minister / president?
What sidekick?
And extra points if they don't talk.
Ooh. Oh, I think I have the book right here, so I can look up the character names.
Oh. I think no. Jesper, I know he's not a sidekick, but I feel like Jesper would be a good prime minister.
I'm like, so most of the characters in All of Us Villains are not side characters, but
I know
there are characters that aren't as forward as other ones. I think Gavin would be a good
prime
minister.
Okay. What else do I
He's my pitch.
What
were you gonna say?
No, it's okay, you keep talking.
I was gonna say there's what's his name? Oh my gosh. I'm like digging into this pile in my room trying to look for character names because you decided to ask me questions all based on character names when that is something that I
you could just say the guy from this book.
Don't remember. That feels embarrassing. You know?
That's what I do, so I think Luke from Addie, I think, would be hysterical. What a great prime minister.
Mm-hmm.
Just total
as a comedy pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, this feels like cheating, but Rye from Shades of Magic. Okay. But Rye is also a prince, so he's been like prepped to be a public figure.
Okay. Yeah. I like that.
So I'm like, it feels like cheating, but I also feel like it would be a good one.
Okay, slay. Oh gosh, who's one of the roommates from One Last Stop?
There are 5 of them.
I know, dude, I know. Who's this guy right at the beginning? Nico.
Oh, okay. Stop. I thought you were gonna say the one with the dog or the cat. Dog?
Oh, don't ask me that. I don't know what their name is.
Guys, I promise we read these books.
Yeah, but dude, it's been I couldn't even remember a kid I taught a year ago. Do I remember a book I read in a day? No.
No.
Okay. Great.
Oh, I also vote for Thorn from A Winter's Promise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He grew up in a ruthless world. He is ready.
Gotcha. Okay. Pick a number. Not 3, 6, or 9.
I love that we only debated the first one and now we're just listing characters.
We're just agreeing. I think some of these will
we'll get to a debate. Okay. How about number 2?
Okay. It's the other Hunger Games one.
Oh, sick.
What character would survive the Hunger Games? And specifically, who would win?
And specifically, who would win?
Yes, like who do you think would win the Hunger Games out of all characters?
I'm looking at Ray Bear on your shelf, and the name of the main character is completely escaping me. Which feels embarrassing. Yeah, please.
Okay.
Because I freaking love that series, and the fact that I can't remember her name.
Terasai.
Yeah, she would win 100%. Okay. Also, I actually think Bree from Legendborn
would win.
Yeah. Hands down. Lila Bard. Duh.
Yeah.
Doesn't even need an explanation.
Piper from It Happened One Summer would win. Not being sarcastic.
No, I genuinely think she would win.
I think that girl could girl boss her way to the end of the Hunger Games.
I agree. I would actually love to see that.
I think that would be so funny. I also think that oh yeah, this guy from this book.
Oh,
Aiden, what's his name? Aiden. He would just run and headbutt people. Aiden from The Wall of Winnipeg and I, for any of our listeners. This guy from this book.
This guy from this book that I'm holding up. I don't know why I'm looking back.
Also, I think Garfield the cat from the Garfield comics. I'm serious. Don't laugh. I'm being serious. I think he would win.
I agree.
Oh, I thought you were. I was like, okay, this is where we get into a debate. Garfield would win.
No, I think Garfield would win. I am laughing because I think it's funny. But I think he would win.
Well, you know who wouldn't win? Odie.
Correct.
Odie's nuts.
Correct.
Don't tell him I said that.
Oh, you know who would win is the main character from The Wolf and the Woodsman.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, that same goes for Juniper and Thorn. That main character, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
It's right here. This is the
Danielle. Oh no!
Marlishan.
And the name of the main character in The Wolf and the Woodsman is on the tip of my tongue. And it's
literally in my car. I couldn't even tell you right now. I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, those are my picks. I'm happy with that. I don't need to add any.
Yeah, me too. Okay, where to put my phone? You guys, okay. Wait. Pick another one.
Number 4.
Okay. Pick a character.
Just
pick a character. And then I will tell you what you have to do with it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, what's your character?
Sabran from Priory of the Orange Tree.
Okay, my character is. I didn't pick a character because I was waiting for you. My character is Delilah Green from Delilah Green Doesn't Care.
Sure.
Okay, the question is, what T-Swift era would they be?
Is this when I am fully ass out on the internet because I'm not a Swiftie?
You can just tell me what you think, and then I will tell you what the era would be. I thought you were a Swiftie. That's on me.
Like, I'm a Swiftie in a sense that I've probably listened to at least one song off of every album that she's had.
Okay, well, that's a good start.
I'm not familiar with her eras.
Okay, they're just for albums.
I think the era after Red, what was that?
1989.
What songs were on that?
Welcome to New York.
No.
It's been waiting for you. Or are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Or and now we're back. No. I don't think Bad Blood, or is that on Reputation?
No, I think she's Reputation.
Okay, so like Getaway Car and like Are You Ready for It?
Yeah. I think what's interesting about Sabran is I think she starts in like Speak Now. Kind of ish.
Okay.
Like whatever was right before Speak Now, edging into Speak Now. Like the cusp of that.
Wasn't that her debut?
No.
Or was it Fearless?
Fearless. I think.
Slay.
And but like more Speak Now. And then by the end of the book, Sabran is in Redemption.
in Reputation.
Yeah.
It's okay. We were gonna smoothly move into that. Hell yeah. Okay. Delilah Green. I think most people on first glance of Miss Delilah would say Reputation because she is tattoos, black, leather pants, yada yada.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think Delilah is, I think she's a folklore girly.
Mm-hmm.
Or Evermore. Like, she's a little artsy fartsy. Specifically, if I was to think of one song that I think Delilah was, I think she would be The Lakes, which is the bonus track.
Okay.
Take me to the lakes where all the poets went. It's very romantic, but also kind of sad. Yeah, that's what I think. I think she would be a folklore girly.
Okay. What an interesting question. I wasn't really able to answer.
It's okay. You did answer.
But I did answer it.
You did answer it. Okay, next question.
Okay, so what have we done? 6, 3.
You have 8, 7, 5, and 1. 1, 5, 7, 8.
Number 1.
This is my favorite question. What fictional character? No, I think it's too controversial. What fictional character would be a coho girly?
Sarah.
That's what I thought too when I wrote it. I think Dorian would also be a coho girly.
Yeah.
But good for him. I also think that, and I hate this, but I think August from One Last Stop would be a coho girly.
That's what I was gonna say. And there's something about August that I do feel like she would be a coho girly. I think she'd grow out of it, but I think she would be.
I think she would hear the rumors and she'd be like, "Oh, I can't like this person anymore." Yeah, I think she'd be a coho girly. That's so funny. That is so funny. Who else? I feel like Nina would be a coho girly from Six of Crows.
Yeah, Nina and Alina.
Oh yeah, for sure. And also like the redhead, what's her name?
Jenya?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't get coho vibes from Jenya.
I do. In the way that it's like, I just like to turn off my brain and read what I enjoy kind of vibes. That's the vibes I get. Who else?
The main character in Tessa's book from last year.
Hook, Line, and Sinker.
Nope, not that one either.
My Killer Vacation.
My Killer Vacation. The main character from that.
Yeah.
Be a coho girly.
Very fair. Very fair. I think Jessica from Twilight would be a coho girly.
Absolutely.
I think she is the coho girly.
Yeah.
She's the OG coho girly. That is so funny. I'm like looking at all my books.
I'm also looking at all your books. I'm like, I think Dorian Gray. Picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah. The middle sister from this one.
Yes.
From Juniper and Thorn, the middle sister.
I was also gonna say, I think maybe Meg or Beth from Little Women would be coho girlies.
And I get the reference because I watched the movie finally over Christmas.
I feel like I do feel like people could see Amy being a coho girly, but I don't think Amy is a coho girly.
I think she's like an irony Coho girly. Like she was the kind of girl who would read Twilight and be like, those stupid girls for liking this book. Yes, but I agree very much. Meg probably closeted Beth. Like Beth would read it under her covers with the plush. Or with the lantern.
Because she would watch Joe and Amy like bullying Meg for reading it and be like, oh no.
She's like not allowed to read it. She's like, drama, romance. Oh, the main character from The Silent Patient, the woman who doesn't talk. Coho girly.
Yeah.
She's been traumatized by Coho.
Yeah. It's a good list.
It is. Who's like the antithesis of a Coho girly? Who would never be a Coho girly?
Oh. I feel like all the characters we said that would win the Hunger Games.
Robin from Babel was the antithesis of Coho girly for me.
Piper, who was in the would win the Hunger Games. Yeah, I stand by. Gotcha. Everybody that would win the Hunger Games would not be a Coho girly.
Not that we have a certain opinion about Coho girlies or anything.
Nobody from Priory. None of them.
Okay. No, fair. Well, I think that goes as even like, I don't think anyone from a lot of like high fantasy, except for like the Jester character might be Coho fans.
Sure.
Yeah,
no Kel from Shades Magic.
No.
And neither is Lila. Absolutely not.
No. Fair. Not Isabella Swan, because she only likes the classics.
T.
She only reads the Wuthering Heights. She only reads the Romeo and Juliet of the world. No Coho to be had here.
Coho.
No Coho. And then by extension, Anastasia Steele. And then by extension, the main character from Gabriel's Inferno. Because they all are what?
The same character.
This whole universe of women who would absolutely not read Coho books, but the only through line is Twilight fanfiction. Yeah. It's kind of beautiful.
I love it.
Okay, next question.
Number 8.
What fictional world should not be allowed to exist in real life? If we were one day allowed to travel into books, what fictional world no, we can't.
So many of them.
I know. Pick one and let's debate the crap out of this one.
Okay. I am gonna go with I had an answer and then I debated myself out of it in my head.
I know.
I am gonna say it's funny because so many of the worlds that I have read about recently, especially like high fantasy ones, are based on pieces of our society.
100%.
So they already exist. That I'm like, okay, which ones are fully fictional?
Well, I think at some point they're all going to be a little bit like, there's not a lot of books I've read that are like 100% like fictionalized. There's still a little bit of earth to them. Okay, I have my answer. Is romantic.
You really, I should have prepared for this episode, man.
Well, you didn't have the questions. My answer is Caraval, and let me tell you why. In this essay, I will tell you why I do not think we should ever let Caraval happen in real life. A, they kill people. B, the main love interest is bald, which I have feelings about. Third of all, if you're bald out there, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you're finding this out this way. 3, there's a lot of gaslighting in this book. A lot of gaslighting. A lot of like, also like you pay for things with your blood, which is like days of your life, which I was like, stop. Like this girl gets sick, and by the girl I do mean the main character Scarlett. Scarlett gets sick or something, or she takes on someone's sickness. She has to give days of her life up. And I was like, like not like she goes to sleep and she wakes up days later and she's like, those days are gone. Kind of scary. Also in this book, her sister's named her sister gets kidnapped in this book, and spoiler alert, she is kidnapped. Well, we know she gets kidnapped in the first, but it's like, does she actually get kidnapped or does she actually not get kidnapped? Is she in on things or not? Which I'll keep as a spoiler. You find out. But family lies to family a lot. And then also in the third book, they turn people into in the spinoff, Once Upon a Broken Heart, they turn people into stone, and they just like they turned into statues. And I was like, I don't like that. That seems like not fun for me. And there's also a carousel in the first book, and sewers when they go through the Phantom Opera style, paddling in sewers.
I love the carousel and sewers.
Yeah.
Or at the same.
Well, the carousel leads into the sewers. The carousel, like forbidden. What's the tree in Harry Potter called?
The Whomping Willow.
The Whomping Willow.
That should not.
Whomping. Weeping Willow.
No, that's what the actual tree is called.
Yes. That's life. Why I'm like, what the called Weeping Willow.
Yeah, but in Harry Potter, Willow. It's a Whomping Willow.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it like opens Whomping Willow style, where like stairs, and then they go down into the sewers.
Got it.
And then the guy dies, but does he really? I don't know. You'll have to wait and see and read the book.
Okay.
Anyway, so, Caraval.
My answer, slightly inspired by yours, maybe, is The Night Circus, which I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, Deirdre, that's your favorite book. Why wouldn't you want it to be
Why wouldn't you
reality?
Want it to be real?
And my answer for you is The Night Circus, as it is in the book, if we were to bring it into reality, is born out of a death match. And there's all of this magic that has intertwined people's lives into it, and the balance of maintaining the circus relies on the contracts people have signed, and like their lives are tied to the circus. There are like two characters that are born when the circus opens on its opening day, and so their lives are like intrinsically tied to this circus. So there's this like element of like, which as a reader is really exciting to read about, because there's an element of danger and you like don't really know what's going to happen, and there's these like twists, but in reality it's a little like, ooh, I don't know, little spooks.
Well, I feel like these have two very similar energies. Why I think Caraval should not be allowed more than Night Circus is because Caraval the main character writes letters to Caraval, so they believe that letters is a superior kind of conversation message deliverer, and we know that's not true. We should never let that happen again. Carrier pigeons only.
And why the Night Circus is the more superior answer. Is because I genuinely don't believe that there is anybody on this earth that could run a circus, a secret circus. So the whole thing about the circus is that you never know where its next destination is going to be.
Same with Caraval.
It just pops up. Yeah, but you didn't say that was the reason. It just pops up out of nowhere. And then it moves on to the next place. And I genuinely, I do not think that there is anybody on this planet that is that level of organized.
Okay.
And I think there are people that are going to be in my comment section being like, my comment section, this comment section, like, I don't think so. And as somebody that is currently working in an industry where high levels of organization are needed, let me tell you, incompetence wins out.
I disagree with you vehemently, and let me tell you why. I do believe there is one person who could make this work, who is organized enough.
Who?
Because that is the man who organized an airstrike on his love interest's sister, Gail Hawthorne.
But again, we're talking about reality here, Danielle. You said...
what about my answer was not reality? Gail exists. He could exist.
You said, what is a fictional world that should not be real?
Yeah.
So
and
then...
you said there's nobody that organized. And I said Gail Hawthorne could do it. Or do you want me to name a real person?
I think it has to be a real person, because the reason I'm saying it could never exist is because it can't exist in our reality, not a fictional reality.
Any stage manager in a community theater production could organize the night circus. Any stage manager who's ever had a kid course in anything could do it.
I don't know.
Who's not getting paid, who's volunteering their time, they could do it. Those people move the moon.
I don't know.
Those people move the moon. Alternatively, I would say the the oldest person on any teaching staff could do it. Just should have retired 5 years ago, they could do it.
And what I will say to you is, for your answer as to why Caraval, the antithesis
well, don't
reason,
say it like you hate it, Caraval. You say it like you hate
it. Is because letters are the superior method of communication.
Coming from Little Miss, I send voice memos constantly. How dare you?
Look, voice memos are convenient to me, but I am also the person that will hand write holiday cards to people. Yeah, they might arrive a year late, but I did write them.
That's true. What I would say to you is, letter writing is not the superior form of communication, because what about the people who can't read, Deirdre? What about the people who cannot read?
Sorry about it.
They're not gonna know.
And now I'm getting canceled for ableism. Thanks.
No, you're not. No, you're not. This is all hypothetical here. Someone could read them the letters, I'm sure. I did watch an anime that was about pretty much that concept, so I kept thinking, it could just be the anime. But anime is not real life either. If only. Okay. We've got 2 left, I think.
5 and 7?
Yeah.
Let's go 7.
Okay. What character would lose a thumb war? So weak. Or doesn't have thumbs?
I do think Percy Jackson would lose a thumb war.
He would not be paying attention
to Grover. He would lose it to Grover.
Oh, for sure. That's funny. I think that President Snow would lose a thumb war.
Absolutely.
He'd be monologuing and coughing up blood, and he would totally miss the boat.
Totally miss TB. The boat. He has the consumption.
Does he actually have TB? Does he actually? Is that why he coughs blood?
I think so. Isn't it?
You know what? I do believe they addressed it in this book, and I am the one who did read that book.
The only reason
it took me a year to read it.
I feel like the only reason they ever have people coughing up blood is because they've got the consumption.
But he was eating. I don't actually know if he was eating people, but people were eating people. Why does...
I feel like it wouldn't make sense for that to be the reason in the first trilogy when this book came out 10 years later.
Oh yeah, okay. It is in this book, and it is not consumption.
Oh.
He has bleeding sores in his mouth from the poison that he's like slowly dosing himself with so that he won't die of poison when he does those, like, like the thing from The Princess Bride.
Yes. Yes.
So because he's got sores in his mouth.
Got it. You know who would win a thumb war?
Yeah. Who?
Cinna.
Okay, yeah, he's probably got like huge nails, just like ouchie. Who would win a thumb war? You know who would probably win a thumb war? I think I don't even know if any of these people would. Because I feel like it's a specific talent to win a thumb war.
Yeah. It's not just anybody that's winning thumb wars.
No,
you know who's winning a thumb war? Nikolai.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Unless it's against Zoya, and then Zoya would win.
Correct.
Okay, come here then. My cat would win a thumb war. Oh my god.
Aw. Baby boy.
Okay, last question. Because I don't have any answers.
I know, I
don't. Tina Fey from her book Bossy Pants.
I would believe Tina Fey could win a thumb war.
I think Tina Fey could.
All right. Okay. What's the last question then?
Great question. Pick a fictional character.
Huh?
Pick a fictional character.
Sorry. It cut out for a second and I was like, what?
You said, excuse me. Pick a different fictional character than one you chose before.
Okay. That's not helpful.
Ollie can stop it. I'm going to pick Edward Cullen.
I'm going to pick Casbrecker.
Okay. Ready for the question?
Yeah.
What song would they sing in the shower? What song would Casbrecker sing in the shower? What song would
I think Kaz would sing some Frank Sinatra. I think he'd be pulling up the oldies. He would he would be singing Jersey Boys and Frank Sinatra.
Oh my god. I'm going to counter your offer for Casbrecker. I think Casbrecker would be listening to like taped affirmations. Like you see in the movies where people put them in and it's like, I am worthy. Yes. I am good.
That too.
Listening to affirmations just in the shower. I think Edward Cullen would sing like Hungarian Dance Number 5, like do 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 do, like any kind of like classical piece. I think the little idiot would just be singing classical pieces, or like I feel like he would also be like the insufferable, like, yeah, this German band who kills goats in their performances and stuffs $1 million into the corpse, like just like insufferable.
Yeah.
Indie hipster. Or Shania Twain. One of the three.
Okay. I could see Edward listening to Shania.
Well, or Celine Dion maybe more than Shania Twain, but
mm-hmm. I could see Kaz listening to some Celine.
Yeah. I drove all night to go through. Okay. That's our debate, baby cakes.
Was it a debate?
Question and answer, baby.
That's my question for you.
I think we need to re-look at the debate format, but I think it was funny regardless.
I agree. I think it's funny because we really both put our whole ass on the internet showing how good our memories are.
It's true, and I also got mad at you for thinking that Garfield would not win the Hunger Games when we were both on the same side.
Yeah, when absolutely. Garfield would beat everybody.
Oh, 100%. Garfield is like a cockroach.
Oh, yeah.
Forever.
You're not getting rid of Garfield.
No.
Not a chance.
All right. Current read. What you reading?
Okay. Listen.
Okay.
I'm just dropping shit. I had a week to myself because I was sick, which gave me all the time in the world to read A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. This big boy. And it was phenomenal. I literally said to someone yesterday, I finished it a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
I said I could reread it right now.
What?
That's how much I loved it.
Slay.
It's out when this episode comes out. So if you haven't picked up A Day of Fallen Night, go pick it up.
If you can, it's so heavy.
I know. It is so, not only is it thick, it's tall. So when I'm just like around, I'm like hugging it like a baby. I'm carrying it like a baby. So this book takes place 500 years before the events of Priory of the Orange Tree.
Yep.
And there are a couple characters that we meet in Priory that make appearances in this book because there are characters in Priory that can live that long. But there are also other characters who we've like heard about in Priory as like historical figures, but we're getting to know what is going on at this point. So at this point in the book, we know that historically the whole lore of this world is that this big bad dragon worm thing was trying to burn the world down. And so he ended up being vanquished, or so half the world thinks, by this knight who had a wife named Cleolind, and the two of them had a baby, and the ancestors of this knight are what keeps the Nameless One, that's what his name is, locked away. And all of the queens, because it's always a daughter that's born into this family, look identical. However, it is revealed pretty early on in this book that the knight is not who vanquished the Nameless One, and that it was in fact Cleolind, who he was in love with. And this is kind of this is like a big spoiler point for Priory. So if you do choose to read this first, you are going to know this going in. But Cleolind was being pursued by this knight, and she was like, no, leave me alone. And so she is actually the founder and like mother of the Priory, which exists in the south of this world. And so their whole deal is that they are protecting the families that are descendants of her family, as well as the like balance in the world. And so we see the balance starting to unravel. There is a lot of question as to, you know, whose religion is really standing out and is actually true. There's a lot of faiths rocked. But we really get to know more about each region of the world, and it's the same. I'm trying to think who the POVs are in this book. Yes. So we get to know the same areas of the world as Priory, as well as one extension. And I loved it. Like, I think both of the stories are able to stand alone, but they also support each other really well. There were parts of it where I was like, oh, wait, who was this person? And in Priory, and like, oh, I remember them mentioning this, but then it was kind of nice to kind of be like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't need that backstory of Priory, and you also don't need this as a backstory to Priory. Like, you could genuinely enjoy them as separate entities, but it is really fun to have them joined because they are connected. And it is a masterpiece. I think something that you had said to me when you started reading Priory reminded me that it took me about 200 pages to really like feel like I was getting a grasp for Priory and to really feel like I had steam ahead, like steam going. Whereas with this, from the moment I opened it, I couldn't put it down. And it has a really, really nice ebb and a flow to it. And the way she staggered the POVs, you're like, oh, but what's happening to this person? And she genuinely makes you care about every single POV. Like, I wanted to know what was happening to everybody all at once, which made me want to keep reading it. And it was quite magical.
Woohoo!
Woohoo indeed.
Exciting.
Oop, and my light just went out. Lovely.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I'm currently reading 2 books. I'm currently reading 3 books. It's a dirty rotten lie. And I'm gonna keep the second or the third one for our next episode.
Sure.
But so I'm reading Things. Oh God, what is the title of this book? Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score, which is the sequel to Things We Never Got Over, which was the Blue Daisy book that I read. Has blue daisies on the cover. It's the sequel. It's like very much same world but different stories. Like, although I will say she does not mess around. Like, I'm wildly confused with what is going on in this book because I do not remember a lot of what happened in Things We Never Got Over. And she does not back up at all. She does not give you a review or a refresher. She goes, this is from the day after the other book ends. And I'm like, wait, what is happening in this book? Who are these people again? But it is a romance book. It's a romance book that follows, so the protagonist, whoever the protagonist ends up in the first book, Knox, it's his brother, Nashville, Knoxville. Woof.
Sure.
Nash is the brother. He's a police. He gets, spoiler alert, shot in the, of course he gets shot in the first book. He gets shot twice in the chest, I think. Okay. So we pick up the book with him basically like floating through life. He doesn't want to go to work. He's like battling a really dark depression. And then this woman who's friends with Knox, like longtime friends, moves in next door to him at his apartment complex.
Okay.
And she's an insurance agent, but like the kind that like bounty hunter like hunts people down for fraud and stuff.
Sure.
Which I don't know much about. Feels very much like a US thing. I don't quite understand it, but it is what it is. But they're basically like, he's obsessed with her because she's the only thing that makes him feel alive and like he wants to continue to live, which is a little like shit. Like, you should probably see a therapist, Nash. But it's very interesting. Lucy Score writes a really good romance book because it's always like there's some weight and gravity to it, which I really like. But again, her books are like 500 pages, so if you're not in the mood for a 500-page romance, don't do it. So I'm reading that, and then I started yesterday. On my drive back from Calgary to Lethbridge, I started The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. And it is so freaking good.
That's what everybody
I'm obsessed with it. I love his idea. So he talks about, first of all, it's a COVID book, which I was like, wah, wah. Like, he writes about, the first chapter talks about if we go on, and like his worries about the pandemic, which if you need time away from that, mayhaps not the time. But hey, get out of there, stinky. But he talks about how he had written these essays. He got hired at this book review, like magazine book thing, book list or something, where he would have to write 127 word reviews for books.
Whoa.
And how he used to do that for years. And he was like, reviews for things had to be so short, but it was like, how do you convey in such short amount of time something meaningful? And then he was like, well, and then computers and AI came along, and we had to put things into numerical, so 1 through 5 stars, to rate things, because AI can't interpret words in the same way that they can interpret numbers.
Right.
So then he just has all these random things that from the Anthropocene, which is the era of humanity, of time that we are currently in, that like anthropologists or archaeologists rather are going to call this era of time Anthropocene, which is so exciting. So it's the Anthropocene Reviewed. So we just, like, the first essay review that he wrote was on Canadian geese, and he like reviewed it, and then he does a chapter on velociraptors and how velociraptors are actually not the way that Jurassic Park conveys them to be. They're like little short and they're covered in feathers, but he was like, we think, and it's always like a bigger cultural question that he ends up bringing up. Like, he's like, Diet Dr. Pepper, but it's like, actually Diet Dr. Pepper is the only thing. Dr. Pepper is the only thing that doesn't taste like anything, because it's just a whole bunch of things mixed together. That it was the first drink that was invented that tasted like nothing we'd ever tasted before, because everything else was a mimicry of something. And I was like, oh my god, these big fields. I'm like driving to Calgary, like, I'm thinking all these thoughts. But he narrates the book himself, which I love. I've really been enjoying just listening to people talk about the things they're passionate about. I'm like, God, it's just so good. But he talks about his OCD. He talks about other diseases that he's lived through and his illnesses. And he talks about his family and his wife. And then he talks about like silly things. He talks about a lot of historical things. Like, I'm on that chapter where he talks about staph infections, like how he had a staph infection in his eye, and he was like, if it was the 1940s, I would be dead. And he talks about how like disinfectants were made, and how all those things that saved people, and like surgeries, and it was no longer a last ditch effort to save people's lives. It was actually a useful tool.
Right.
So it's just like, if you like facts make you happy. Knowing weird things, or just abstract things makes you happy. I cannot recommend this. And then at the end of every chapter, he goes, he gives it a 5 out of 5 star review of whatever he's talking about, which I think is just so fun. So then he goes, so like, cute. Velociraptors, 4.5 stars. And I'm like,
I love that.
I cannot recommend, because I also feel like it's a book that you could probably listen to, because every chapter is about 15 minutes. Which I have the audiobook.
I just haven't listened to it yet.
I think it's one that you could like listen to over many months and just be like, all right, I'm putting it on for 15 minutes today, because nothing overlaps, which is really nice. It's very fun, because it's non-fiction.
Right.
So every chapter is just a different review. It's delightful. I'm enjoying it so much. I cannot recommend it enough.
Love it.
Well, that's our show.
So many good books, so many good characters. I think my light let us know that it was time to go.
Poopy.
tripping out on me. I don't know why the outros this season are tripping me up every time.
I can do it. Ready, watch this. Hey, thanks for listening to Books on the Brain. We're a podcast that talks about books and stuff. And hey, if you want to talk to us, we want to hear from you. So please go to our Instagram, Books on the Brain pod. Or you can send us an email, booksonthebrain@gmail.com, or you can leave us a voice memo on Anchor. Oh, and also you can follow us. No, you can go on YouTube, and you're going to go onto YouTube now. You're going to stop what you're doing. If you're driving, pull over. You're going to go to YouTube and you're going to follow us, and you're going to like the video, and you're going to watch my face, because I used a Deadman brush for the first time last night, and my hair looks very curly.
Danielle's hair looks
deserve
amazing.
To see it. Thanks. And then you're gonna listen to us on all all podcast platforms, because we're there. So you're gonna go listen to us there. And also, if you want to listen to not both of us at the same time, just one of us at a time, we have our own private social medias. Deirdre's at Deirdre Rose Morgan on TikTok and Instagram and on YouTube, and I'm at DJ Books on TikTok, Instagram, and Pinterest.
Nice. Rapid fire. I like it.
I didn't breathe.
Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe.
Oh yeah.
And we will chat to you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.